Go ahead and close your eyes. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Allow your facial muscles to droop down. Unclench your jaw. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Go ahead and open up your eyes. Welcome to episode 1 of Mindful Moves. I'm so happy that you're here. I am going to dive right in to one of the most important tools you're going to be given for this regulation journey of yours. Our first tool of this month for the next 4 weeks that I'd love for you to practice is breath. We are going to dive into the how later, but first I really need to tell you a story. This story changed my whole viewpoint on how important breath is. Earlier this year, I went to a retreat, and at this retreat, there was many different participants. One of them, and for anonymous purposes, I'm going to keep his name at Daniel. I met a man called Daniel. Daniel was at this retreat because it was his last resort. He had been working for many, many years prior, tough jobs. So he was a captain on a ship for many years. If you know anything about that, you would know that your sleep schedule is really, it gets quite wrecked. You're awake for long hours, you don't get good quality sleep. If that wasn't enough, he also worked as a commercial diver, which means you go underwater, dive suit, and you're deep down in the ocean, maybe on an oil rig, whatever it may be. So Daniel had some hectic jobs. These jobs gave him wealth, so he had money and he had worked really hard for it. However, what it had taken from him was the toll on his body. After working these really intensive physical jobs, his body stopped sleeping. So he is based in Australia. And Daniel with his money that he accumulated from this, went to many, many sleep specialists. He went to whoever he could, did as many tests as possible. He tried methods, he tried supplements, he tried medication. Nothing did the trick. He was getting only 1 hour of REM sleep, and REM sleep is your deepest restorative sleep. That's where all the good stuff for your body happens. He's only getting 1 hour of REM sleep every few days. Eventually, the doctors looked at him and specialists and said, look, you're functioning, you're alive, but that's the best we can do for you. We've tried everything. Now, I don't know if any of you have had a bad night's rest, haven't slept well. Maybe you had a few nights of very little sleep, maybe 5 hours or 6 or 2. Or you went out on a night and you got home early in the morning. How did you feel the next day? Now, imagine that went on for years. This is what Daniel was dealing with. His brain had stopped producing a very, very important hormone or chemical that helps with sleep. And the doctors just said, look, we can't mimic it and we can't fix it. So now you know what it feels like to not sleep well. Imagine this goes on for that long. So Daniel decides, okay, I don't know what else to do. He gets recommended by a friend to go on a retreat. And now this retreat was really special because it wasn't just maybe your basic kind of retreat. It was more inward. It was like an inward journey, a lot of work, but also physical. So ice baths, breath work, which is going to be an important part later, yoga, healthy eating, whole bunch of things. Challenging, but so rewarding. And it got to the breathwork section. Now, I am a yoga instructor myself, so I understand the importance of breath. I know it's a pillar in yoga, and I've been using pranayama for many years. I hadn't even been exposed to how powerful it is to be led through a breathwork session. Now, we had the honor of having Johannes Egberts and his beautiful partner Lou, and they did the most beautiful breathwork I've ever experienced, and I'll speak about my experience another time. But Daniel gets to do this breath work Now, we had 3 sessions. The first 2 sessions were really intense for Daniel. I connected with him early on. I just looked at him, and I sleep for 8-9 hours a night, so I just couldn't imagine what that must feel like. Naturally, you're just not yourself. Your personality is completely drooped down, and it must be that you have heaviness on you because you're not yourself, because your body's not getting what it needs. And I connected with him in that way from the beginning, and I just was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And basically, the breathwork started. And for the first 2 sessions, I don't know if any of you have done breathwork before, but if you have done an intensive session, you'll understand that there can be euphoria, there can be pain, there can be crying, there can be anything really. It's completely open. But we had the support of Johannes and Lou. And we went through these sessions, and the first 2 were very intense for Daniel. Daniel struggled. He really had tough emotions come up, and you're finally in a space where you're allowing them to be felt. And this can be a lot. On the 3rd session, which kind of came as a surprise the way it happened, we had a 3rd session, and afterwards I looked over at Daniel and I said, how are you doing? And I saw this smile that was just so light, and it was the most beautiful thing. And I asked him how it went, and he just explained that he had felt so much darkness, kind of like heaviness and a heavy emotion released from this area of his body. And it was kind of just like this freeing moment, and he felt amazing, and he got a sense of that euphoric feeling, right? I can't really describe what that feels like, but it's magic. And that night, Daniel, the same Daniel who hasn't been sleeping for years, been to every specialist and been told, sorry, there's nothing we can do. That night, Daniel slept for 8 hours and has been sleeping every night since. And I love to share this story because this blows my mind at the power of breath, the power of reconnecting to yourself, allowing your body to feel safe enough to feel what it needs to feel through your body. Some people feel like you have to only talk through things, and I think that talk therapy is a huge benefit, of course, and it has its role, but just being able to provide that safety for the body is insane. And ever since that day, as much as I already knew breath was important, now it's a non-negotiable. So the first tool that I am going to bring into your life, and I hope you keep this one for as long as possible, forever, is breath. And how you're going to do this is super simple. We are going to start, now obviously this is miles apart, a breathwork session and breath in your life, but I promise you it brings you to the same state. What we're trying to teach the body here is safety. Now, before I dive into exactly what you're going to do, how you can implement this tool, I'm going to speak a little bit about the nervous system. So, as I touched on in the intro, this is the most fundamental part of being able, I believe, in my personal opinion, and it's backed by science, is how to allow your body to feel safe. And I'm going to keep it very simple. I have a blog. You're more than welcome to read more about it if you want specifics, but I want to keep it simple for the sake of following along. Imagine you have a red color. Now imagine this red color. When you are in the red zone or the orange zone, these areas are when your nervous system is in distress. It's not happy, it's dysregulated, and this can manifest in a few ways. Some people may have sicknesses, illness, disease. Some people could be waking up every day with this dread, this feeling of stress, the feeling that you can't slow down. You're busy all the time. You have to keep busy all the time. Sitting with yourself seems so awful, scary, and just not touchable. And a lot of us, if you want to name it, it's fight or flight. So your body is just in a constant state of stress. And that basically translates to your body doesn't feel safe, so it makes your brain know that things are not safe here. And a lot of important functions can start to turn off. In my personal story, I developed a hormone imbalance because my body felt so unsafe, and it didn't feel like it could continue. So it shut down certain things that are deemed not as important. And we often just look, as Daniel did in the story, we just look at the tests and we just look at what's wrong and what's not in my body, or how can I fix this with a pill. And as much as 100% there is place for that in certain circumstances, when your body is not processing things and feeling safe enough to process them, there is nothing that is going to fix that except regulating your nervous system. And there's obviously so many other beautiful approaches and things that we can implement. But at the base of it, to really, really change your life, I firmly believe that you need to let your body know it's safe. So we're aiming to move into the green zone. The green zone is your happy zone. So if I could describe it to you, it's fresh ocean breeze. I'm sitting at the beach. I can see flamingos and the sun is setting. Everything in me feels peaceful, feels calm. I feel connected to the earth. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not thinking about a to-do list. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm in my most natural state. And this is the green zone. This is what we're aiming for. So I know that was a brief summary, but I just want you to see it in a very simple way, because I think that the more simple we keep it, the easier it will be to implement change. So what is it that you're going to be doing? The tool we're going to do is breath. Now, what I'd recommend for anyone who is a beginner is, if you've read some habit books and how to develop them, you might have caught on to something called habit stacking. Habit stacking is when you pair, let's say you want a new habit, you stack it onto something you already do so that you don't have to do it all on its own. Why does this work? Your brain is already doing something. Okay, I'm going to give an example to make it a bit easier. So for breath, imagine in the morning, you wake up every day. Most of us have an alarm. We switch off the alarm. And then usually what happens, if you're in fight or flight, you think about your to-do list and you think about what you need to do for the day. And then you become already stressed because you didn't finish something for work and you haven't gotten the kids ready for school. And already within seconds of waking up and switching off that alarm, your fight or flight, you're in that orange and red zone. So what we're going to do for habit stacking is, when you switch off your alarm, you stay in the alarm app on your phone and you go to countdown or self-timer and you set 5 minutes. We are doing 5 minutes. That's it. So 5 minutes, you're going to click it. If you don't want to do it in bed, maybe you have a partner next to you, go to another room, but do it as you wake up. It really, really, really helps. Obviously, you are fully entitled to do it whenever you want to do it. I recommend doing it in the morning because then it's done and you feel like you've achieved something for the day. So you go wherever you want to do it. If you can do it in bed, if you want to do it in the bathroom before you brush your teeth, that's also fine. And you're just going to set a countdown for 5 minutes and you're going to do some breath work. Now, I think we can just start with a really simple one. So I'll show you how it's done. You're going to inhale for 5, hold for 5, and exhale for 5. So the 5, 5, 5 is quite easy to remember. So let's say your alarm has gone off, you've switched off the alarm, and before anything else, you set a countdown for 5 minutes. You close your eyes. You breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you keep repeating this until your alarm goes off or your timer. And it's an easy one to remember because you can use your fingers and you don't have to say it out loud while you're breathing. You can just go with your hand. And this is the one that I started off with, and it's super easy to implement. A tip over here is make it happen. Stack it onto whichever habit you already have, and it will just be easier. It needs to be a priority. Remember, you're not waking up and saying to yourself, oh, I have to do this breathing thing. You're waking up and saying, I deserve to feel relaxed today. I deserve to enter into this day not feeling so stressed. More importantly, I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to honor what I said. And I think that this is something that we so often run past. There will be an episode later on habits and how to form them, but so often we want to do so many things at once, or we want to do too much at once. Habits begin in the smallest mindful moves. You need to be mindful of what it is you want to achieve, and it needs to be a tiny move forward. But if you rush this, it can actually result in the opposite. I think we've all been there. We realize we want a different life. We don't want the one we have right now, whether it's you're feeling stressed or you just look at someone else's and you think, I want to do something different with mine. And so often for 2 weeks we are productive and we're journaling and we're exercising and we're getting up early, and then it fades away. After those 2 weeks, it's gone because your brain doesn't have the capacity to implement so many changes at once. So with the breath, this is what we're going to do. This is all I'm asking for. 1 month, you're going to implement. I recommend if you can do it 5 minutes before bed as well, that would be amazing. Then you've got 10 minutes each day, and that's not a lot to ask for, because why wouldn't you want to wake up with some breathing and go to bed with some breathing? I can guarantee it will help you through the day. I want you to just take a pause and remind yourself why you would be doing this. And it's not only to change your life, but it's also to just reconnect with yourself. So often we look outside and we think, okay, if I had this house and I had this job and I looked a certain way, then everything would be fine. But I can really, from personal experience, when you feel okay inside your body and you feel safe inside your body, that is when all the change on the outside begins. You don't have to be in control of that. All you can be in control of is yourself. And so often we skip past these super, super simple steps and tools. And that's why you might be thinking, oh my God, like what? I must breathe 5 minutes in the morning and the evening and everything will be fine. Yes. Short and simple, yes. Small, incremental changes will be long lasting. That's why we're going to do this for a whole month. I firmly believe that the most simple things and coming back to the most natural things is going to help us heal. So I implore you to take this on. Please feel free to track it. I love visuals, so I would put like my habit tracker, I would put it on the wall. Obviously, you can download that for free. That's no problem. If you just go to the website, you're welcome to download it. And that's a way you can just hold yourself accountable. And by having that on a wall or marking it off on your phone, whatever you prefer, digital or physical, right in front of you, whatever you choose, at least it makes you have this notion in your head, okay, I've completed that. 2 things you're doing is you're cultivating a new habit through repetition, and that is the best way to develop a new habit. And the second thing is you're instilling a new confidence in yourself that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. So I really hope that this doesn't feel like you can't achieve this, but that you can, because it is actually within your reach. And that's why I keep it really simple, only 5 to 10 minutes a day. If you can do twice a day, that's amazing. If you can only do it in the mornings, that's fine. Whatever resonates and suits your life. We all have very, very unique situations. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. There will be more information in the blog post. You can read up on it. And yeah, I'm here if you need anything. I'm so grateful that you have been here for my very first episode, and I look forward to cultivating a regulated nervous system and mindfully moving through life with each other. I'm going to end by just saying that the light that you are constantly seeking outside of yourself is waiting to be acknowledged within. With that, have a beautiful day. It was lovely to have you here. Wishing you all the best.